Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
Oh, opening day, kids. How was that for you? How did you like that? Yeah. I had great timing, man. I was, the Rays got her up 7-1. I got to go do my Lightning gig. Woohoo, let's go. Ruh-roh. Ruh-roh. And here comes Ian Seymour, with now has an ERA of infinity because he did not get an out. Yikes. But a great opening day all across baseball. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Got the new MLB app, Timmy. So I'm like watching all the games, all the recaps. Yeah, how are you, partner?
It's a great bid, isn't it? As I said off the air, and you disagreed 100%, that I thought yesterday maybe the greatest sports day of the year because you had.
I think that's a little much.
Not for me. I guess it depends on what your interests are.
It can't be because there was no football. But
opening day, come on, there was probably football somewhere. Opening day of Major League Baseball should be a national holiday. You know,
I agree with that.
100%.
100%. Yep.
Just like the first day of the NCAA tournament kicking off, that Thursday and Friday nobody should have to work that day. Nobody works anyway.
At what point does somebody run for president and like say, hey, first and foremost, we're going to do something the rest of the world does or most of the world does. Everybody gets 6 weeks vacation, not 2. It's a law. If you're a full-time employee, you get 6 weeks vacation. You win, hands down. You win the election. Doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe
you
I'll
could be
run
a
on
full-on
that platform.
Mamdani communist. It's like, no, everybody gets 6 weeks off. All right, you win. Yeah, but continue.
And the Monday after the Super Bowl is a national holiday, or move it to
100%.
Saturday. One or the other, dude. I'd take it on a Saturday. Where it
Yeah, we could do that.
Super
Sunday. Well, you have 2 weeks off anyway. Just do it Saturday.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But yeah, you had MLB opening day, which just makes my baseball blood boil. It's so awesome. Yeah. And then you also had Sweet 16 games. And
that was kind of snuck up on me, to be honest with you, because I'm working the Lightning game. I'm like, oh yeah, we got Sweet 16 tonight. Some interesting finishes there, by the way. Hello.
Yeah. Texas and Purdue. I thought Purdue was going to roll the Longhorns.
I don't know what kind of lucky horseshoe Iowa's got up their ass. They got 2 games in a row at the finish. The Gators left Alvaro wide open, and yesterday Nebraska has 4 guys on the court, and he's wide open for a dunk. That was the deciding points. What the F?
Whose fault do you think that is? Like, is that on the player?
On Hoiberg. It's on the coach.
It's on the coach for sure, but because he didn't catch it.
Yeah, you got to, it's on the coach number 1. It's on the player who should have been in the game number 2. The refs are supposed to count the guys as well. So there's a lot of people at fault there, and it's just something that should never happen in a moment like that.
I mean, that is up there. That is up there with the Chris Webber timeout.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
I mean,
as blunders go. As blunders go, yeah, that's
blunders.
That's that's your manager thinking you've already got into the second round and managing a game like that. That's Blunder City, baby. That's Blunder City.
But
yeah, isn't it funny that post-COVID, there's a lot more of that stuff. Like nobody's buttoned up at anything anymore. Nobody does stuff to the level that they used to. Once everybody realized, oh yeah, we don't have to work anyway. Okay, fine. Everything's just kind of gone to shit. It's like, we don't have to really. Nobody's good at anything.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but man, just again, all of the baseball was on. Anywhere you could watch, you wanted to watch it, it was on. It was on regular TV. It was streaming.
If you could find it. If you could find it.
I didn't have any problems.
I know. The Rays did a nice job. They put out if you're on their text messages, they sent you a text that basically said, here, enter your cable system and your zip code, and we'll tell you exactly where to go, which was really good. Yeah. Yeah. And I have a Spectrum package, kind of a weird one. So it didn't populate like it normally does. And my workaround didn't work either. So I had to go to the MLB app, which I downloaded pretty quick. So, paid the $100.
Sure.
I wonder, do they have a media thing? Don't they have a media subscription? They should, but I don't know if they do or not. Anyway, I got the Rays TV, watched the game yesterday, and to be brutally honest, the technology and the game presentation needs a lot of work. They had huge audio problems, which to me are very disturbing when I'm watching a game. It's every time they switch cameras, the natural sound went away.
Really?
You have and
the ambient crowd noise and all that.
We call that nat sound. And so that was, as you know, but it's very, very off-putting when you're watching a game. It's like every time you switch the camera, the audio went away, and then it came back, and then it was just weird. And I'm like, there's nobody in the truck can hear this? Like, I'm sure they could, and they just didn't fix it. So you're going to have a lot of these bugs as MLB takes over some of these broadcasts. You're going to have a lot of these bugs. But the problem is, if you look back, and Big O and I were talking about this yesterday, when he was with Fox Sports, and everything in television production now has gone backwards. There's technology. Obviously, they had the dirt cams and stuff like that, which are great, sort of. I mean, I don't know if they're that.
I like them.
Great. Yeah, I mean, it's a cool visual, I guess. But, that's great. Get the foundation stuff right. Like, get the foundation stuff right. We got to have freaking audio and natural sound. And at one point, the natural sound was way too high and drowning out the announcers. It was really choppy. It was kind of a high school production, to be quite honest. And they need to button that up. They need to button that up big time. And then they're cutting back on pregame and postgame, which I don't get. That's that. I don't know if that's an MLB.com or an MLB situation. They're taking over these broadcasts and they're cutting corners. That's what it appears like to me. Why would you not have a full half hour and full half hour post-game show? And the Rays aren't going to do that on the road. Now, we'll be happy to pick up the slack. Orestes and I are already talking about that, and we may be doing YouTube shows before and after the games, especially the road games. If they're not going to do it, we will. And we're actively looking for a sponsor. So if you want to have Orestes Destrade, the Emmy Award-winning Rays broadcaster for 12 years, representing your company, and this knucklehead here as well, doing pre and post game shows on StreamYard and our YouTube channel, please give us a call, and we'll be happy to do that, because there is a definite vacuum in coverage if that's the way they're going to handle it. And by the way, I don't think this is a Rays decision, because they've kind of farmed things out. And and we said this yesterday, and I'm not trying to make excuses for this ownership group, but my Lord, they had to rebuild the Trop in 5 months. All right, rebuild the Trop, get ready for a new season and an entire transition of an ownership group, which that alone is a tremendous undertaking. Just a transition from one ownership group to the next.
Sometimes that's a year-long process.
Yeah, exactly.
In most cases.
Like you saw that in Baltimore.
Yeah.
You have to get your footing, find out who works for you and who doesn't, and who's good and who's not. Everything, and kind of weed things out through the organization and institute your culture, right? So that's a big deal right there. But that's probably number 9 on the list for them. Number 1 was getting the Trop fixed and getting it ready for this season within months. That was number 1. Number 2 was getting your team on the field, free agency, massive trades, right? Funding all that, and they have their first $100+ million payroll. That's good. Then you had this whole new stadium deal, which is in and of itself takes sometimes 4 and 5 years to put together. And that's, obviously right now we're going through the sausage stage, and there's a lot of articles out there, the TBT, who are attending every meeting, right. And watching how the sausage gets made and reporting. And it appears to be total chaos, because that's what these processes look like when you're building a project of this size and you're trying to meet a timeline of 2029, which is totally ambitious and maybe unrealistic, frankly. It's a lot on your plate, and they had to redo their entire television network as well. Another thing that probably takes you years in the making to get right. So they've had to do all this stuff in a very short amount of time. And I think you're seeing a lot of things slip through the cracks, as you might expect. But I don't think it's like a lot of people are saying, oh, these guys don't know what they're doing. And especially when it comes to the stadium, because for agendas that, we don't need to talk about. They don't want that stadium there. and they don't want it in Tampa. And then and people, there's just inherently always going to be pearl clutchers that don't want any progress at all. So I get that, but we can overcome that because we have a lot of great aspirational, wonderful people that are incredibly successful. It's interesting because when you're on social media, Jimmy, and you're doing all these stadium debates, and somebody will come at you, and then you go look at their profiles, and it's like, they got 37 followers, they're fringe politics, right? It's the same people. And you go look at all of their replies, and everything they say on Twitter is negative. Everything.
That's who they are.
And they say nasty things, and they call you, horrible names, because that's all they have. They have no intelligence. All they can do is name call, and you bring facts, and they go, "Oh, you're a this." I can't even say. I don't even want to say it on. And that's all they have. And I say, bring some facts. Have an intelligent, rational debate. Oh, you're a dick. It's like, and that's who these people are. And then you see the people that are writing these eloquent, beautiful essays about what this stadium can mean, like Will Weatherford and others. And you're like, wow, I'm on the side of these people who build things and are incredibly successful in their life. The Fred Ridleys of the world, the Will Weatherfords, the Ken Babb, all the owners, all these guys that have built wonderful companies, made huge amounts of money, done incredible good, incredible charities, and then you have the douchebags on the other side that are a bunch of guys in academics that just want to tear down and be nasty. And it's like, I got no time for that. And if you want to be on that side, I wish y'all just need to go gather somewhere, because I'm sure that must be the most dour, ugly meeting of and y'all just bitch at each other. I just go get in a room and just do that. And that room would really smell, I bet. It would smell really bad. I'm going to be over here. I'll be over here with these incredibly accomplished, aspirational people that are doing things that make people's lives better. Not just sitting on their ass, complaining behind a keyboard and punching out stupid, insulting messages. So anyway, sorry on that rant.
Their life. That's their life's mission.
Yeah,
it's
it is, and they're just miserable human beings for the most part.
Yeah.
But anyway, getting back to the baseball yesterday, it was a great opening day across baseball. A lot of great stories that we'll talk about. But for the Rays, Orestes and I were doing the pregame show that we did yesterday. And the lineup came out right before we did it, and we just went bananas because we've been talking about Chandler Simpson leading off for the entire offseason, and He's not even in the lineup. He's not even in the freaking lineup. And I'm like, and then Camaro's got Ben Williamson hitting behind him, which, okay, listen, kid had a nice day, got a couple of hits, and I think he's going to be a really good player. But in terms of having protection for Camaro, that's not the guy. And Orestes was very adamant about this, is you got to have those three guys together, Yandy, Aranda, and Caminero. And we prefer having Aranda behind Caminero. Of course, Aranda hit a home run yesterday. Boy, did you see that home run he hit?
Yeah.
Well, like he just kind of reached out and kind of scooped it 400 feet. He's a really good player. And I'm going to really enjoy watching him and his career unfold. And as he gets a little bit stronger, his power numbers, I think, will go up. But that was impressive. But he should be hitting behind Caminero. Caminero, to his credit, walked 4 times yesterday. Got a single and walked 4 times. You can't have Caminero walking 4 times because at some point he's going to get impatient. Mm-hmm. He was very patient yesterday, did a great job. But at some point, that's not going to work. He's got to be, for me, in the middle of those 3 if you really want the damage to be done. And I understand they're probably trying to lengthen the lineup a little bit and having Caminero protect Aranda, but I flip that around. I got to flip that around. And I just to make sure that Cammy's coming up with people on base, and it's much harder to pitch around him with Aranda sitting there. So I hope that's an adjustment that they make. In Chandler Simpson, of course, he comes off the bench and gets a line drive knock that gets the inning going, and they finally start scoring some runs. Ryan Vlade, we've been calling him Vlade. We apologize. Mm-hmm. It's Vlade. Had a home run stolen from him, and he's going to be a good ball player. But Chandler Simpson is a game changer. and his speed is incomparable in the league. He's the fastest guy in the league, and he needs 550 to 600 at bats. He hits 295 against righties and lefties, and now has added a bunt to his game. There's no reason to platoon this guy, none whatsoever. The only time he comes out of the game would be, I think, late inning defensive purposes. Otherwise, he's at the top of the lineup, setting the table. And Orestes, he'll be in here later on, and we'll talk more about that. But I thought that lineup yesterday was ridiculous. It was ridiculous, and they got 17 hits, which was an opening day record. And as Orestes pointed out, 1 home run and 16 singles. Like I've never seen that in my life. And Topkin had a good note too. He said in the rally that they had, 7 of the hits went a total of 713 feet.
Good Lord.
Hits. And 4 of them were contact under 72 miles an hour exit velocity. That is, that's getting it done with little numbers
that's
here.
Small ball right there.
Yeah, that is really small ball. That is
got to
big
score those
ball.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then you get a 7-1 lead, and it took about 45 minutes for that inning. And rightfully so, they sat Rasmussen and brought the bullpen in. That was an obvious move by Cash. No one should be criticizing that move whatsoever. And Ian Seymour comes out and can't get it out. 5 straight hits and gives up 5 runs. Awful. Just an awful outing for him, which with young pitchers is going to happen. I think Ian Seymour's a really good pitcher, and I think he'll be good in the long run. But right now, his ERA is infinity. That's not good. That is not good. So that's where you lose the game. And then I thought Cash did a good job of recognizing in that inning that this was the inning they had to get out of. And he brought in Griffin Jacks, his highest leverage reliever, and Clevenger. And both of them failed to get the job done. Jacks gives up a 430-foot jack to Burleson. That was an absolute bomb. 99 miles an hour on the inside black, though. I mean, it's a pretty damn good pitch. And Burleson was just waiting for it and turned on it. Those damn lefties down and in, boy. That was a little bit probably his hot zone, but still, he got the bat head out and just absolutely murdered it and watched it fly. And they loaded the bases in the 9th, and Palacios came out and struck out Ryan Stanek, the old Rays relief pitcher, got the job done. But, it was an exciting game, full of drama, but you don't want to lose a 6-run lead. That is a absolute killer for a team like this. The team that's built on pitching and defense cannot be losing 6-run leads. That is no bueno whatsoever. But it's 1 of 162. It's no big deal. They get the day off. Bullpen will be fresh. It'll be a lot colder on the weekend in St. Louis, just in the low 50s. So be a much different game. Yesterday was in the 90s. But and Junior had 2 boots, by the way. Yeah. And it's a shame because this cat has been working on his defense so much in this offseason. And I think it was almost kind of like, all right, I'm going to show everybody what a great defender I am now. I've worked my ass off, just totally overthinking it, right? Yeah. Totally overthinking it. And that's what he did. So he'll be fine. But that was I was like, whoo. I mean, those was like two plays as easy as you could get. And he just boots him. And I'm like, whoo. But didn't hurt him. Didn't get any runs out of it. But, he'll be fine defensively. But all in all, it's nice to see a team that you didn't think was going to get many hits get 17 hits. Obviously, it's not going to be a team with a whole lot of power, but the bullpen has got to be better, and they will. We're not going to make too much out of this game. But it was great to see. It just reminds you, Timmy, that baseball really is it's a magical game. It's a magical game, and when it's done right,
it's the perfect game.
Yeah, it's such a great family thing, It's watching that St. Louis, just the pageantry and the Clydesdales, right?
They do it right up there, man.
Yeah, and then watching Cincinnati. It was 150th opening day in Cincinnati. Yeah. 150, holy shiz, that's a lot. And the streets were just absolutely packed on a sunsplash day across Middle America. I mean, that is just Norman Rockwell painting after, it's just fantastic. To me. That's Americana.
That's what I'm telling you. Opening day in MLB, dude. There's nothing. Don't tell me Super Bowl. Nope. Opening day in Major League Baseball is by far to me the best sporting day of the year.
I would have liked to have been at an outdoor park yesterday at one of those places and enjoying baseball. And the parks were packed. I mean, they were just. Absolutely no tickets to be had. And the Rays will do it. They'll probably, I'm sure theirs is the latest opening day at home opener at April 6th, and they'll do it, and it'll be great. It'll be fantastic. And I'm looking forward to it, to see all the pomp and circumstance that they do. But it does remind us, if I may, for just a moment here, as we are on the precipice of taking a vote that will, I think, either keep the Rays here or send them packing. And there's no question that there are a lot of questions that are unanswered right now in terms of the financing plan, the roof, the parking, everything. And again, there's all these stories that are coming out. But again, when you attend these meetings, which are public meetings of the TSA, and a lot of these TSA guys are against this. And for whatever reason, some of them I know very well. They're friends of mine, and I've had conversations with them, and they're very, they're businessmen who are looking. I think a lot of these guys are looking at this like, oh, I'm a real estate guy, right? Why don't I get $1 billion to help me do my thing? Why are we giving all these monies to these guys? And it's like, and I try to explain to them, because you don't own a baseball team. Right. You're not bringing a $2 billion asset that's going to bring 10 million people to our area. And if you do get one, by the way, I'll be more than happy to pitch in and help you build a stadium, because that's how it works. And so many of these arguments that I'm hearing against it are just seem so ill-informed and clutching of pearls. And I don't get it. And these are nice people. I love them. But I don't understand why you have a group and a very rich and accomplished group that wants to do great things in the community. And we've mentioned all their names, the Will Weatherfords, the Fred Ridleys of the world, the Mike Murphys of the world, Patrick Zalewski, the owner, Bill Cosgrove, Ken Batt, all these guys, and so many more Tampa guys, Dan Doyle, like elite guys that have done so much in this area, are saying, hey, we're going to put in 8 to 10 billion of ours. All right. So, and we're going to cover the cost overruns. We're going to operate this thing ourselves. And so many of these things that they put in the deal, you go around and look at other deals that have been done, not even close. The Braves didn't do nearly what the Rays are offering the county and the city in terms of sharing the expenses. In fact, that you'd be hard pressed to find another deal that has been done where the team is giving more than the Rays are giving. And still there's a lot of naysayers, and there's a lot, I think there's a lot of misinformation out there. And so the public, when they, and I know the county is sending out questionnaires to constituents, but the questionnaires have no information that they're giving out to the people. All the people are reading is a lot of misinformation from the TBT and other places, and it's depicting that this as something that it's not. And even in these articles, they'll talk about the stadium cost, but they don't say anything about the benefits. I mean, if you're going to write stories about the stadium, you should present the entire. And it doesn't take much. It's a simple stock paragraph of the Rays say that this is going to, their Rays studies and studies from this and that and this, independent studies say that this project will bring $6 billion back to the taxpayers, create 12,000 jobs, and an economic impact of $55 billion over 30 years. We don't have to argue whether those numbers are correct. There have been multiple studies done. There are more being done, and they should be. But that is never mentioned in any of these articles. So, because it doesn't follow their agenda. Exactly. Why would they report on that? It's not what they want. Yeah. So, and people say if this went to a vote, it would be defeated. I would say, well, not if we get the information out there to the people. I think the voters would overwhelmingly approve it if they knew, we invest $1 billion and get $6 billion back, and we get to keep our raise, and we get this thing that's going to do 12,000 jobs, and we get a brand new Hillsborough County, Hillsborough College, shooting much more opportunities for those kids, which might be my kids, to get jobs. I mean, yeah. When you look at the whole thing, but that's never presented in 99% of this media, which is frustrating. It's really frustrating. So I think there's this negative, I'm talking to people at the Lightning game last night, and everybody's, I don't know if this is going to get done. I don't know. Yeah, of course that's what they think, because all they read is negativity. And, and I know Ken's out there, they're doing freaking as many things as they can, and not a lot of people are showing up, because, the negative people show up. The positive people are working. They're at home. They're back home with their kids, doing homework and doing stuff like that. So it's hard to get out, and the activists will come out and do their stupid stuff because they don't have jobs, and this is what they do. These are their jobs. So it's just inherently negative, and obviously social media is inherently negative. And that's why I say to you guys, you Petermans out there that are positive about this, you've got to get out there. You've got to send letters to your council people. If you want this to happen, you've got to make it happen. You've got to make it happen. It's not going to happen on its own. You got to get off your ass and email them and call them every day if you have to. Get 10 of your friends to do the same thing if they're like-minded, because we're going to sit here and in 2 weeks they're going to have a vote. And if it goes badly, this team may be gone. And you're all going to be, what happened? What happened? Well, what happened was you sat on your ass and did nothing. So don't do that. Don't make that mistake. Get this is the time to act. I told you there will be a time. This is the time to act. So all you guys that are watching baseball and you're Rays fans, you cannot sit on the sideline here. This has got to get done, and you've got to make your voices heard. And I haven't seen the final numbers. That proposal will probably, that term sheet will probably come out either today or early next week. And then we can really dig into the finances, and I think you're going to see an even better return or a good return, obviously, for the public. So, with not having that, obviously we can't say definitively this is an amazing deal, but with the framework, to me, looks fantastic. And if and if not for building Amalie Arena, a Benchmark International Arena, the Ice Palace, as it was called back then, we don't have all this Lightning excitement. If not for building Raymond James Stadium for $190 million, we don't have an NFL football team. And if we don't have an NFL football team that means we don't have Super Bowls. That means we don't have national championship games. That means we don't have Taylor Swift concerts. It means we don't have squat. That means we're Orlando. You want to be Orlando?
Without really? Disney World.
Yeah, you want to be Orlando without Disney World? Well, if the Pearl Clutchers have their way, that's what it's going to be.
I had a girlfriend with that nickname, by the way.
What's that?
Ice Palace.
Was your wife?
Which one?
That was Ice Princess. All right. Speaking of the Lightning, let's just roll right into talking about
no break.
Our friend. Eric's ready.
We're rolling.
I don't want him to sit through one of my breaks, even though they're not that long. What's up, Double E's? How are you, partner?
Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Can we say something nice about all our advertisers since we're not going to take a break right here?
Oh, by all means.
Yeah, right. There you see them, Cafe Paradiso. The great folks at Genesis of Tampa. I just got a car there. It's sweet. So nice, Eric. I love it. Riveters, great place to watch Lightning games, by the way. Playoffs coming up. Got to do that. Pitch Roofing. If you need a roof, they are the best in town. Italiano Insurance. The Golden Diamond Source. Last day of Match Madness, Eric. Get a $1,000 gift card, and they'll double it. How about that? The last day of that. And Kingmakers, where we're sitting right now, Third Generation Plumbing. All our great sponsors. We thank them very much. All right. So that was an interesting game last night.
It's been an interesting last couple of games.
32 shots blocked by Seattle. I said something on a post-game show, and I was somewhat admonished by my peers that I just thought Seattle played with a lot of desperation last night. I thought they played hard. They played with desperation. I'm not saying the Lightning didn't, but I don't know. It was just a weird game. How would you characterize it?
Seattle was in panic mode.
Yeah,
I guess is kind of the way to say it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you take that game 100 times, if the Lightning just start a little bit better, they probably win it, right?
Yeah.
But having said that, third straight game they fell behind 3-1 in a game.
Wow, third straight game.
They've come back to get points out of it, right? They lost the overtime game in Calgary. They came back to beat Minnesota in regulation, and then obviously last night it was interesting. Kind of the theme of what I wrote from the game is that this team is playing with some fire and emotion. Problem is they're not getting to it until they're down 3-1.
Right.
Like they're trailing by the time they get to that emotion and they're fired up, and then they just control the game. So they have to, especially with this part of the schedule that's coming up and the teams that they're facing, you can't wait till you're trailing to get to the emotional part of your game, right? And you could see it in the latter stages of the first period, right? The early part of the second period, J.J. Moser gets into the fight, basically standing up for Emil Lilleberg, who couldn't fight because they didn't like the hit that he put on Jordan Eberle. And, so you could see some of that coming. Nick Paul was looking for anybody to get into a fight with him, right? Like he was trying to get involved.
To drag himself into the fight, yeah.
Something into it, right? I like even watching Corey Perry with that big old black eye, getting into a skirmish. He said he took a punch, and so you could see that emotion start to build up, and but you're at the time of the year now, 11 games left, big one tomorrow afternoon against Ottawa. The Ottawa Senators are pushing hard for a playoff spot. They've been really good of late defensively, right? They only gave up 10 shots to the Rangers in a game, and so they've been really suppressing shots for their opponents. But you got to get to that emotional level, and whether you manufacture it, you force it, whatever you got to do, you got to get to it. You got to get to it sooner, because when this team plays with that fire, I mean, look at that game against Minnesota.
Yeah.
After they fell behind, all of a sudden, man, they were a forechecking machine. They were hard on pucks. They were fast to pucks. They were quick, right? Like you could see it. You had the two fights in that first period, the one that, and look, they probably lost both those fights. But, sometimes it doesn't matter whether you win the fight or not. It does bring the rest of the team up, and that was the big thing they talked about after the Minnesota game, and then last night talking about not getting to that level quick enough, right? And it's hard. Look, it is hard. I'm not giving this team excuses here, but they did just go out west, and they did fly from Calgary on Monday. You had 27 hours between touchdown here back in Tampa and having to face the Wild, and they're in the middle of
that was a hell of a win.
Yeah, and it was a great win, but again, it took them. They had to really dig down deep for that against a really good Minnesota team, who, by the way, put up 50 shots on goal last night.
Yeah.
By the way, talking about the black shots, this is an interesting stat that I kind of pulled out between the two games. So the Lightning had 74 shot attempts last night. The Wild had 76 shot attempts. The Wild had 50 on goal. The Lightning had 33 on goal. Like, you see the difference there when you get those pucks through. It's great that you're getting the attempts, but if they don't get through to the goaltender, like I've never seen a game or remember seeing a game where a team had 74 shot attempts and their expected goals rate was like 2.5.
Yeah.
That's low for that much puck control.
Yeah.
Like they out attempted the Kraken basically 2-1 last night.
Yeah.
But 30 of their attempts were blocked.
And Coop said something interesting. He said, that's on us.
Yeah.
You want to, you see that block shots and you're like, wow, Seattle's like laying it on the line. They're just, every chance they get, they're on it. But then he said, which I kind of think that's part of it, but he said it's on us. So what's he talking about there?
The big key phrase was their hesitation to shoot the puck. Right? When you hesitate to shoot, you give the shot blockers an opportunity to get in the lanes, to get on top of you. So, one of the worst things for hockey players, and this is going to sound really bad, is to think.
Yeah, of course.
Sometimes you don't want hockey players thinking, you just want them playing. Right? So that was kind of his point last night. And look, how many times did guys pass out of shot attempts as well?
Oh, my Lord.
I mean, Kucherov in overtime.
Yeah. How do you pass that puck out when you have a shot like he does?
Yeah, and 5
and
on 5
and Hagel
play,
was covered. There's a guy right on him.
In 5-on-5 play, I can kind of understand it sometimes because guys are always looking for different angles, right? We see this a lot, and Brian Engblom likes to blame it on Leon Draisaitl, who can score from that angle, right? He can score from anywhere off the side of the net. So guys are always looking to kind of find that 6-hole, if you will, on goaltenders nowadays. But that's what he was kind of talking about. John Cooper was, we have to get those shots through because we're hesitating, we're waiting, and in this game it moves so fast. You hesitate for a split second, your window closed, right? So it's part of trying to get back to, because hockey's a lot of instinctual repetition. Right? It's understanding the system, how to play, where to be at, and you want to know, especially by this time of the year, instinctually where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to do to perform there. And for the most part, they are. It's just they're in one of these little just ruts. Even though they've got points in 6 straight games, this late season, my good friend Martin Fenley used to say it's the sled dog days of hockey.
Yeah.
Right. And that's kind of, even though there's only 11 games left, they're still kind of stuck in this. So you would like to see with the opponents coming up, right? You get Ottawa, you get Nashville, you've got Montreal coming in here on Tuesday, you got Pittsburgh, a team that's in a playoff spot. The Bruins are here next Saturday to close out this homestand. You'll find your level quicker, because you better do that when the postseason starts. You can't wait for the game to come to you in the playoffs. You have to go attack the game. And last couple of games, they haven't attacked the game.
Yeah, and the other part of that is when you get behind, you're expending a hell of a lot more energy playing catch-up. And at this time of the year, I'm not saying you need to be coasting, but you don't need to be making it harder on yourself. That's not something with the playoffs coming up, with the hardest trophy to win in an Eastern Conference. That's just going to be an absolute bloodbath in the playoffs. Every round is going to be Eastern Conference Finals worthy, probably, right? It's going to be tough. And so start faster, it's so much harder to play from behind than it is to protect the lead, right?
Yep.
Especially for this team.
And with the schedule that they're on, too,
yeah.
Right? Like, look, again, I'm not trying to make excuses, but, coming out of the Olympic break, they had the fewest games played by any team. And then, the month of March is 16 games in 29 days. And, geez, I think April's like 7 and 14. And there's not more than 1 day off between games for the rest of the regular season. And you might not get but 2 days off before the playoffs start, right? So you might as well start understanding that rest is not coming,
right?
Not the rest that you want, right? So like even today, it's an optional show up for practice kind of practice, right? They don't have a lot of practice time. Today was one of the days, but because they need the rest so much, there might be guys who don't show up to practice today just because they want to get the extra rest that they can, because, the Gensels, the Kucherovs, the Hagels, the Sorellis, they're playing 22 minutes, 23 minutes a night, right? So rest is a weapon, but it's hard to find the time for it right now, because 1 o'clock game on Saturday, 5 o'clock game on Sunday, then you get Tuesday, Thursday, then you're back to a 5 o'clock. So you don't even have morning skates to try and, work on some things practice-wise. So it's a big balance situation here for the coaching staff about finding them rest, but also wanting to make sure that you're, staying on sharp and on top of your game.
Eric Erlendsson joining us here, lightninginsider.com, a must subscription if you are a Lightning fan. Yeah, you mentioned the schedule. So they got Ottawa on Saturday. Ottawa is fighting for that last playoff spot. So their desperation, just like Seattle, is going to be immense. Nashville is in the final wild card spot in the West. They're going to be playing with everything they got. They want to get back desperately. Then you got Montreal on Tuesday, who's right behind you. And they, and still they're three points out of being out of the playoffs because everything's so packed, 3-4 points. Yep. Pittsburgh, all these, Boston, they're right on the edge as well. All these teams, and then you got Buffalo and Ottawa again, and then Montreal. There's a lot of divisional games coming up, and all these teams are desperate to either solidify home ice or just stay in the playoffs. So it's almost like it's almost like the playoffs are here already in terms of intensity, and I think we saw that last night.
Yeah, and
you got to meet it, to your point.
Yeah, it like, so you feel good about where you're at if you're the Lightning, right?
Sure, you're going to get in.
You better not feel too good.
Yeah, right.
Because these are all now, all of a sudden, these are all 4-point swings.
Yeah.
Every team you're playing, they're 4-point swings. And look, I'm not trying to do a Chicken Little impersonation here, right? They're 4-0-2 in their last 6. Like, they have, they're playing pretty good hockey for the most part, just not the full 60 minutes. You want to see them find their game earlier to give themselves better chances to win games rather than having to chase the game. So, but you can't have a bad 5-game stretch here. Right?
Not now.
You can't go 3-7 over the next 10.
No, you're out.
Because you do it against Ottawa and Boston. All of a sudden now, you start to hit a slippery slope, and you don't want to be on that slippery slope. You want to take care of your own business here.
Yeah. Eric Erlendsson joining us here, lightninginsider.com. All right, so I asked everybody I possibly could ask last night, including a couple of the cooks in the kitchen, what's going on with Victor Hedman. And it is a nuclear secret, apparently. And it may be something to do with his family that's not great. It may be a chronic injury that he just can't get over. I'm hearing a lot of different things. Nothing is definitive. What are you hearing?
Getting information
so
out
true.
of anybody.
Yeah.
You might have an easier time getting into Fort Knox than trying to.
And we're on the broadcast team, so it's like nothing's coming out.
Yeah, it could be anything, right? It's personal reasons, so it could be a myriad of things. It could be something family related. If it is, boy, I hope everything works out.
Yeah.
Well,
so Eric, I thought it was interesting on the when I've looked at the game day notes and stuff. The reasons that I saw that he was listed out had illness next to it, and I know none of that means anything this time of year.
Yeah.
But does it mean maybe a little something? Because they could put personal reasons. I've seen that before as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting that they listed it as illness, but like anytime we've asked, like the big one was before the Minnesota game, right? When John Cooper said he's not playing tonight, and I asked him, so well, what is he dealing with? And like sometimes, you ask a question, sometimes you already know the answer, but you want to know how it's answered. Right? And so like the way
the nonverbal says everything.
Yeah, the way he answered that was like, well, he's not playing, and we'll see from there. Right? So yeah, the fact that it was listed as illness, the fact that after the Vancouver game he said he wasn't feeling well, so it indicated that it was illness. He was asked, is it more illness than injury? And I think he said yes, but like it could mean anything, right? Like, so yeah, it's weird that they did classify it as an illness. I think people were running with that and maybe putting it out there like that. It could be like when Steven Stamkos and Andrei Vasilevsky both had their blood clot situations, right? And I'm not saying that's what this is.
Yeah.
Those weren't injuries, but they were health related, right? So it could easily be something like that that he has to go get taken care of. And so again, it's not necessarily an injury, but it does deal with health related situations that he has to get figured out. It could be anything. The only thing I'll say to people is please don't speculate.
Yeah.
Don't try and, be amateur investigator here and just start throwing anything against the wall. That's like we have a responsibility in the media. Like if we don't know, if we don't have something confirmed, don't say anything. Don't let people spread wildfire rumors. That's my problem. Sometimes in these situations, especially in the days of social media, where it's so easy to just put something out and not have anything behind it, any factual based situation behind it. So just be wary, don't speculate. And he's such a respected guy that I hope people would try and kind of give him the respect and the space that he needs here. And when he's ready to come back, he'll come back, and maybe he'll share what the situation is then. Until then, we just hope everything, whatever it is, works out well, and he finds his way back to the team. But here's the one thing I'll say about Victor Hedman. The one thing we know, he has not been Victor Hedman this year.
No, I was just going to say that.
Not been that player that we're used to. And, the one thing that I've noticed is, like, his skating.
Yeah.
Right? He has not skated well all year long.
Even the energy level just looks so low, and that's not Victor.
Yeah.
So that I was going to say, what can we glean from the way that he's played? And I think, the one thing you could say is just what you said. It's not Victor Hedman, and he's too. We were having this conversation last night, and people say, "Where is it age?" And I'm like, no, you don't fall off a cliff like that.
Not
like that. Yeah, exactly. Not like that. It's something more, which tells us that it's 95% of the time this can be overcome. And so he can be back and he'll be fine. I know there's a long 3 years left on his contract, all that stuff. Again, don't make any long-term speculations. He's dealing with something. And, I think to your point, the blood clot situation, we eventually found out what that was. And it's also, they may not know. They may not know. I mean, a lot of medical situations, they've probably been trying to figure out this for a long time or whatever. We don't know. It could be, or it could be something with the family. It could be a multitude of things. So I think what we say is that, number one, pray for him and everything that goes well. And number two, from a hockey standpoint, I think it's probably better for the team that there's some clarity here. And if he can't play or can't play to a level, then, as we go into the playoffs, we make plans for that, right? And the defensive pairings that are playing right now have been good. And this is the team that I think that has played the best this year in terms of these pairings. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. McDonough Chernak, we found Lilleberg can play the right side. Obviously, Moser and Radish have been great all year. Victor Hedman at his best, though.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But
yeah. Notwithstanding. So if this is the group we could take into the playoffs, especially with Radish's emergence, you're pretty confident that, normally you lose a guy like Victor Hedman and you're like, how is this team going to go deep into the playoffs? But they've cultivated some really good players and they're playing well together. Fair?
And they've done it out of injury situations.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? Like there was a long stretch in November and December where they didn't have Hedman, they didn't have McDonough, and they didn't have Chernak.
Right.
They were missing their top three defensemen, and that's where Darren Radish got the opportunity to blossom the way that he has this year, where J.J. Moser turned into this just defensive beast, playing top minutes on the left side, where he'd been playing right with Victor last year for the most part. You had, a Dastu emerge, coming over his first year in North America, playing well in Syracuse, coming up and stepping into role. And Emil Lilleberg, again, we found out he could play the right side, and he's done it pretty well. And, boy, was he physical last night with the way that he played. Even Declan Carlisle and Max Crozier, guys that were forced into minutes that they hadn't played before, performed very well in those minutes. So, and that's the one thing, like with Victor out now, they've been through it. They've understood how to play without him, and everything else that he brings to the table, you've figured out ways to win games without him because these other guys have stepped up. And now at the most important time of the year, he's not there, and you've got guys who have already been there, done that, and understand how to do it.
Yeah, that's a good part. All right, as you look at as this playoff drive happens, what are the things that you hope to see in these final few games? Are there parts of their game that they need to shore up to be the best version of themselves in the playoffs? There's a numbers thing out there that it talks about all the different metrics offensively and defensively of the past few Stanley Cup champions. There's only one team that equals all those metrics, and that's the Lightning. Do you feel like they're a favorite to win the cup? I don't necessarily feel like they're a runaway favorite to win it. I feel like this team can win it, but I think it's just the last 2 years that are holding me back, But the thing is, you're not going to play the Panthers, and you're not going to play a team like the Panthers. And I'm not saying a physical team. I'm saying a cheap shot team that's going to take out your best players. We're not, and given a fair playing sheet of ice, I like our chances.
Yeah, look, I think that from top to bottom, they're probably the best team in the Eastern Conference. I think if you look at their depth, that's where the play of the Gord, Gergensons, Holmberg line this year has been so key for this team. You look at their road record last year and look at their road record this year. It's night and day. And I think that the Gord line is the reason why, because it is that sort of proverbial third line that you need, that they can take on defensive assignments, but it also, because it balances out the lines, that you can put anybody in a matchup against any other line, basically, no matter who you're playing, and feel comfortable with it, which is what they were when they had Gord, Coleman, and Goudreau. Look, and I'm not trying to compare. I'm trying to say the presence of that trio has helped John Cooper and the coaching staff balance things out. So that's why I look at this team, with the high-end skill players that they have. Kucherov is being Kucherov. Jake Gensel's a 30-goal scorer again. Hagel's a 30-goal scorer again.
Pointer's
Cirelli,
coming
with
on.
all the injuries he's had. He hit 20 goals last night. Yeah, Braden Point and all the time that he's missed. I think he needs to be more of a driver of his line. I'd like to see more of that from him. If Gage Gonsalves is going to be as engaged as he has been the last couple of games, you need to see that on a consistent basis from Gage Gonsalves to make him a more effective top six guy. But I like the way they're constructed. Nick Paul, who's been such a big part of this team, all of a sudden is your fourth line center.
Yeah.
And I feel that Nick Paul is kind of lost a little bit in this lineup. But it's the way it's constructed. That's why
he can make an impact, though. Yeah.
Yeah, and watching him on the ice last night, boy, he wanted to make an impact in some capacity so bad last night because he wants to have that feeling of being involved. Because he's a guy who's went from 15, 16, 17 minutes a night to now he's fourth line role playing 10, 11.
Yeah.
But that's also speaks to their depth. And you add a Corey Perry to this lineup, and boy,
you love that.
Has he kind of been a guy, talking about guys who bring up emotional levels of their teammates. I mean, look, Julian said it when they acquired him. He knows how to raise the temperature of a game when it needs to be raised. And we certainly seen that the past two games, right? Like, boy,
it's critical in the playoffs.
Yeah, critical. You need that. So I like the way that this team is constructed. I like the way that Andrei Vasilevsky's playing, right? The D is kind of found some consistency with their pairings now that we know Victor might miss some time.
Yeah.
So, look, the East, I think, is wide open. What's interesting about the East this year is the turnover, right? There's no Toronto. There's no Florida, right? You've got the Islanders who are right there. You've got Montreal, who I know made it last year, but, we're kind of this young up-and-coming team. Buffalo coming out of nowhere to have the year that they're having. But can these younger teams that have these young, exciting, like-to-play loose and fast teams, can they have success in the playoffs? We
Different
know how
animal.
Lightning were.
Right.
They were the fast team that liked to play loose. And, because, in the playoffs, man, it's hard to outscore your mistakes in the playoffs. And sometimes that's what younger players and younger teams have to go through. So you put all that together, the experience that the Lightning have, I think you could look at two teams in the playoff favorites, and I think that's Tampa Bay and Carolina.
And I don't necessarily like the way we've matched up with Carolina in the regular season. But we all know their postseason is not. Yeah. They just haven't done it. I mean, they look great in the regular season, and I think at times, the way they've thwarted the Lightning power play in the last couple of games where we can't even get it in the freaking zone, it just – at times I feel like they can dictate to the Lightning, but then they're always – they just always seem to not have it when it comes to the playoffs. I don't know how to quantify that. Maybe it's goaltending, whatever it is, but they don't have it, and the Lightning have proven it. But every year is different.
Yeah, Carolina hasn't had enough quote-unquote game breakers.
Yeah.
Right? They've got Aho, Svechnikov's having a good year, but I tell you what, they got Nikolai Ehlers this year. And Ehlers could be a game breaker. So that's why they went out. They've been trying to find that guy that could be a game breaker. They tried it with Gensel. Right? They were very close to getting him re-signed after they acquired him. So we'll see. Again, Carolina is that team that everybody thinks is going to take the next step, and they just, they're just good enough to not get there.
Yeah, I know.
This is how they've been.
All right, Double E's, tell everybody how they can get lightninginsider.com.
Yeah, you see the website right there. That's the way to get all the written content, and boy, there's a lot that's kind of going on right now.
Yeah.
A lot of fast and furious games, but hey, playoffs are coming. You want to be in tune and in depth, and that's what hopefully I provide at the website. So two plans. Monthly plan is $5.99 now, and a yearly plan is $49.99. Head out there, sign up today, and get ready for the postseason because it's coming fast.
Excellent stuff. Do we have restaurant reviews and music reviews on the site as well, or just hockey?
We do not.
Come on, man. But you're such a music guy and
I am a
foodie. Guy. Come on, let's go. I think you need to add. I think you need to add a little variety to the website. Some music reviews. It was just my 2 cents.
I will take it under advisement.
What's number one on your iPod right now, Eric?
Yeah, he probably has an iPod.
I listen to a lot of Sirius XM. So my channel is Alt Nation right now.
All right.
And I think probably my favorite alt nation artist right now is Somber.
Love me some Somber.
Definitely young enough to be my son.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna check that out.
He is young enough to be my youngest son because he is the same age as my youngest.
Nice.
I'm gonna check that out. See, I knew you had it in it, and see, there we go. Add that little aside on your website, and I think you might,
Yeah. But I will tell you, my favorite band is Mumford and Sons.
They're coming to Benchmark, right?
Oh yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, when is that?
Backstage.
August 7th, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I want to see that as well. I'm a big fan.
Great band.
Big
Great
fan.
Live too. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the best. That rocks. All right, my friend. Thank you very much. We'll see you soon.
All right. Be well, boys.
All right. I'm frozen with my face in a very smiley position, which I kind of like.
I think we just leave that picture up.
I think we do.
Let's just
go. Let's just go with that. It's a good look.
It's a very happy show today.
It is.
Even though everybody lost.
I don't know. It's weird, isn't it? Like I'm still talking, but I'm frozen.
We'll just throw this up there. Nobody needs to see me anyway.
There we go. All right. It's a quick break. When we come back on the other side, I'll get to your comments. We have a lot of great comments coming in. So I want to get to that. Lots of other stuff to get to, including basketball, a little football in there as well. Let's see. That time of year when a quarterback that nobody thought of now is moving up into the first round, and that would be Ty Simpson.
Ridiculous.
So, hey, underwear football matters, bro. Come on now. These things matter.
So stupid.
Quick break. We're brought to you by the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source. As I mentioned, it's Match Madness going on right now. One more day of this. So get down to the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road over there in Clearwater, about 15, 20 minutes just over the bridge if you're in Tampa. And get over there now because up to $1,000, they will match it. So you'll have $2,000 in spending power for gifts. Get one now, hold one for later on. If you have a birthday and then Mother's Day or whatever's going on, double your money right there, big time. It doesn't have to be $1,000. You could do $250, $100 if you want. Whatever it is, they're going to double your spending power at the Gold and Diamond Source. Take advantage of this just one more day. That'd be today. So get your ass out there at the Gold and Diamond Source. And they have such a selection for guys. They've got Rolex watches, pre-owned Rolex watches. They got a great selection there if you're looking for something sweet to put on your wrist or as an investment. Very good stuff. The expanded men's section is there for you. And if you're looking to pop the question, it's got to be a natural diamond. It's got to be the Gold and Diamond Source because you trust them. You cannot buy it online. In other places, I wouldn't do that either. You don't know what you're going to get. You got to go to a reputable company that's been here for 40 years and been in your community for 40 years. The Gold and Diamond Source. Back in 3. Here for Pitch Roofing, one of our new sponsors and the most reliable and honest roofers in the business. They love the Lightning, and Bolts fans be entered to win a pair of premium Mark Club seats with every free roofing estimate from Pitch Roofing. Seats include food and beverages, early access, premium entry, and a backstage tour of Lightning Vision with yours truly. Always get 2 to 3 estimates when replacing your roof, and be sure to include Pitch as one of those roofing companies. With a free estimate from Pitch, they're not trying to hard sell you. They educate you on your roof and the process. Even if you do not choose Pitch Roofing as your roofer, they want to leave you feeling informed, knowing the different materials and manufacturers, and understanding the process and warranties. Very, very important. Pitch is an Owens Corning preferred contract, Better Business Bureau accredited, and MySafe Florida Home approved. That's very important as well. Pitch prides themselves on full transparency and customer first level of service. They also offer financing options, including 0% plans, ensuring a stress-free experience. Call my friends at Pitch Roofing, 727-67-PITCH. That's 727-677-4824, or go to pitchroofing.com.
Pitch Roofing, roofing done right.
As the Rays enjoy being back in their Tropicana Field home this season that was ravaged by Hurricane Milton, Italiano Insurance wants to remind us all how important it is to be properly insured. 40% of you are underinsured. That can mean financial disaster. Let the experienced and friendly agents at Italiano shop your policies for the best price and the right coverage. Italiano saved me over $1,000 on our auto insurance last year, over $500 on our homeowners insurance. They can do the same for you. That's a grand slam. Might as well get a double play by adding flood insurance and business insurance to your portfolio. Costs less than you think, and trust me, you do not want to risk your home or personal wealth. That's a whiff. So step up to the plate and call 813-877-7799 and chat with our all-star agents at Italiano Insurance, or call our Boca Grande office at 941-964-0400. JP here for Riveters, the official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. We're located just south of Ray J and Steinbrenner Field, so it's a great pre- and post-game spot, and the happy hour is amazing. Monday through Friday, 3 to 7. Check out these specials. $3 Bud Light drafts, $4 domestic bottles, $5 wells, $6 premium wells, $6 cocktails like margaritas. That's unheard of. And the Riveters food is freshly made daily. No freezers. Happy hour food specials include $3.50 tacos and barbecue sliders. $6 you get edamame or chips with the beer cheese, which is amazing. $8 buffalo chicken dip, my favorite. The truffle fries, chili cheese fries, also $8 at happy hour, as well as other specials throughout the week, including Taco Tuesdays, you get $3 tacos, and Wing Wednesdays, 7 o'clock to 1 a.m. in the morning, you get our amazing wings, 5 for $5 and $5 wells and wines. That's a good Wednesday night. So if you're tired of the preppy, overpriced, generic sports bars, come see the amazing, friendly bartenders and staff at Riveters, where customer service really matters. Riveters, just south of where the Rays and Bucks play. We'll see you there. Hey, the Golden Diamond Source wants to be your family jeweler, so don't wait any longer to find that one-of-a-kind perfect engagement ring for that special someone in your life. At the Golden Diamond Source, they can design anything you want personally. The Golden Diamond Source can help you trade in your old broken jewelry and use it towards a new purchase as well. And with gold prices at record high, now is the best time to do it. They only sell natural diamonds at the Golden Diamond Source, so if it's a real love, it should be a real natural diamond. Don't start your relationship with a fake diamond. Bad idea. And with the Golden Diamond Source first-time buyer program, you can learn all about the 4 C's in all the different shapes and styles. And they are able to show you a huge selection of inventory to choose from. And don't forget, 0% financing for up to 5 years. If you finance $5,000, it's only $83 a month. Make sure it's a Golden Diamond Source diamond, 3800 Almerton Road, always online at goldendiamond.com.
It's a love you give only at Golden Diamond Source.
Hey, lots going on at Genesis of Tampa, selling amazing vehicles and doing great things in the community. And March is Gray Bull Rescue Military Appreciation Month. A portion of all vehicle purchases go towards a donation to Gray Bull Rescue, who recently saved dozens of Americans from the cartel violence in Mexico. A great organization. St. Patrick's Day is coming up. Wear green, buy green, save green. Wear green to Genesis of Tampa on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, for $500 off any vehicle in stock. Buy anything green that's green in color, the cars, SUVs, you get $1,000 off. Also, buy a vehicle between March 14th and 17th, and you'll be entered to win a trip to Ireland on us. How about that? Of course, Genesis vehicles are the best in class for value, technology, luxury. And there's a National Genesis Signature event going on currently to get 1.9% financing. Limitations apply. Whether it's the G70, G80, 90 sedans, or the incredible SUV lineup, take a test drive and see what everyone is talking about. It's special. Genesis of Tampa, 801 East Bears Avenue. Tell them JP sent you.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here as we roll on. I didn't.
Can't hear you, JP. You got to turn that camera back on. That's your main camera.
How about now?
Yeah, you just have to switch the main camera if you want. Go into settings and switch it. Then we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
You hear me now? All right,
Yep.
we'll just stay here. This is fine. Big O's coming in a little bit. Anyway,
All right.
Welcome back. By the way, if you're looking for a great place to watch all the great sports that are going on right now, we got Major League Baseball. We got the Lightning playoffs coming up. We got Sweet 16 and Final 8 this weekend. All kinds of cool stuff. So go on over to Riveters and watch your baseball to your heart's content. They have all the games on over there, and they got the best food. They got the best service. Always great friends over there, smiling. They greet you. So many bars I walk into, man, I cannot tell you how many times you just sit there while the bartenders walk around, talk to each other, and, you're just sitting there waiting for somebody to come up. And then they finally come up, and that does not happen at Riveters. When you go in and you sit down, you are greeted immediately. unless they're serving another customer, they will be to you quickly. Nothing burns my ass more than that. Happened the other day. So I should just go to Riveters and not go to any other place. But anyway, Riveters it is. Head on over there to watch Rays baseball. All kinds of cool stuff going on. All right, we're going to get to the comments here in just a second. And one thing we kind of, with all the stuff that's going on this week, we kind of missed this and haven't had a chance to talk about it. But USF made a basketball hire this week, replacing Brian Hodgson with the great Chris Mack, who was the 2016 National Coach of the Year. Has led teams to 9 NCAA tournament berths, including 4 Sweet 16 appearances and 1 Elite 8. A career 68% winning percentage over 15 seasons at Louisville, Xavier, and Charleston. 21 seasons. That is one hell of a resume. It is one hell of a resume.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Why was he available?
It's a good question. His tenure at Louisville ended in a very weird way. There were allegations by an assistant coach. And I have some kind of behind the scenes insight into what was going on at Louisville at that time. And as it was explained to me, Chris Mack's a good man. He's a good man. And a lot of things happened at Louisville that I think tarnished a lot of people, and I think unfairly so. And not that mistakes weren't made, but they were. And what happens is there are certain administrations that do not want the public scorn, even if they feel that particular person wasn't really at fault, or it's just, to me, it's a lot of administrations that are just weak-kneed. They're weak-kneed, and they get a little bit of criticism and they fold. And a couple of bad emails, and they'll destroy people's careers. It's just a lack of onions, lack of courage, in my opinion.
Well, it's the culture we live in now.
Yes,
where years and years ago, even in the early email era, things like that would it's just doing the how you do business, right? And not necessarily the content of certain emails, but you could send not a threatening email, but you could send a somewhat hostile email to somebody, and nobody would blink twice about it, because depending on the situation. But man, nowadays, everyone, especially public figures and especially coaches of programs, are under such a microscope. People look for stuff. Like, this is how the Gruden stuff came out. People were looking for stuff in the Washington organization, and that all came out. But and to reset, this was all like 4 or 5 years ago when all this went down. I don't think he's coached in 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. So, he said College of Charleston, Chris Mack, right? And it's I agree with you 100%. And I think this is a great pickup, and I think it kind of is a kind of addressing the stepping stone issue here. With a guy like this who's been incredibly successful, and there is no debating his basketball acumen. None. This guy is really, really good at winning basketball games, know what the hell he's doing. And maybe he's to the point of his career where he might want to settle here, and we won't have this revolving door.
He's almost 60.
Yeah. So, and you don't want an older guy who's just coming here to retire. And I don't feel like that's the situation here. I'm not talked to him yet. We haven't had him on the show, et cetera. But talking to some people, they're really excited about this guy. It's kind of like the feeling like we got an elite coach who will want to stay here. Now, listen, he has great success in one of these big programs, comes knocking on the door. Anything can happen. You're still kind of in that situation. But I think in this situation, you have a university that's, I want to say, sticking out their neck for you, but there's some taint on the resume there, no question about it. So it's like, we're going to support you, and we want some loyalty in return. So I think that's fair. And I think that's what they're getting here. And so if you can get an elite coach like that to come settle down here, and instead of looking to jump back into the P4 by, going to another school, say, I'm going to go with you because I think you're going there. I think you're going to get there. in the next round of expansion. So, and I want to be with you when that happens. So, I'm not saying that's definitely how this is going to work out, but I think it's kind of the way Rob Higgins would like it to work out. So we can have an elite coach that will settle here and build something that can be incredible. Because we've seen with these two flashes with Amir and Brian Hodgson that it's not impossible to win at USF. It can be done. And with the support that they're getting now and what Rob Higgins is putting into this program, and they're, USF is finally serious about athletics, why not them? FAU went to the Final Four a few years ago. Why not USF? And it just takes great coaching, right? It just takes a great coach. And this guy certainly has the acumen to do that. He's done it at a big-time level at Louisville, and he can do it here. I'm excited. I'm excited. As Rob said, Bulls basketball has incredible momentum, and we found an outstanding coach and leader to elevate our program to the next level. He brings elite experience in roster building through the portal and transforming programs in a short time frame. We couldn't be more excited to welcome Chris and his family to Bulls Nation. So, yeah.
And who are we to doubt anything Rob Higgins does?
Right, at this point. You'd be a fool. You'd be a fool. From 13 to 18, Matt guided Xavier to a 215 to 97 record in 8 NCAA tournament appearances, reaching the Sweet 16 on 4 occasions. Okay? He did that at Xavier. Okay? So this dude knows what he's doing. He knows how to coach basketball. So I'm super excited to have him here, and I think he's going to do a fantastic job. All right, let's get back to – and by the way, the USF also announced the hiring of Alabama coach Christy Curry to lead their basketball women's program. Very similar profile here. An incredibly experienced coach who's done it at a big-time level at Alabama. I think they were – she's not a young lady, but I think maybe that's what Alabama was looking for, but this woman can flat-out coach. So I think they've got 2 older, experienced coaches that have done it at an elite level, and we'll see. We'll see. I don't think there's any question both these programs are going to be very successful. It's just when you have coaches like this, the only thing that could happen here is that they're, they don't bring the same energy and they're coming here to retire. And I don't see that with either one of these 2 individuals. I just don't see it. Not in their makeup.
Can I just offer one negative about Chris Mack?
Yeah, sure.
And I think this is unstable no matter who you are or what sector of business you're in, or
he's bald?
Just in life.
Like
no,
you?
That's cool. That's a huge positive.
Okay. All right.
So Chris Mack's wife's name is Christy. A husband and wife should not have such similar names. One of them needs to change their name or go by their middle name or something. You can't have Chris and Christy Mack. It doesn't work. It doesn't. Yeah, let him know when he comes on. I'll make sure we'll go down this wormhole and something's got to change though in the world. This can't be a thing.
And no, we won't. We'll absolutely not do that. 1,000% are not doing that. I will cut your mic off.
It's all right. I'm probably too chicken to do that anyway.
All right, 2 of these great comments here. It's like we're just going to lead off with Alejandro every day because he comes in here every day, and that's maybe that just should be our one of our traditions here. Good morning, JP and Timmy. What a great opening day for MLB. Every game had thrills and suspense, even though the Rays lost the game 9-7 and they lost a 6-run lead. It was still a good game to start. You know what else I love about Alejandro? He's always positive. He's always positive. I love that about you, bro.
He's the opposite of Buck's basement.
Yeah, he is. Who used to lead off. Now we have Chandler Simpson in the leadoff spot.
Right.
I like that. He also said the Rays losing 9-7 yesterday wasn't the best, but there were a lot of positives to take away from the game. Yandy did great in the leadoff spot. No, wrong. Aranda's homer, quality hits by the players. I love Yandy. He's just not a leadoff guy. He's not. I have the lineup for you, and you, damn you, Cash, just use it. Orestes does. Let's put it.
Is he letting the sick kids at the hospital do the lineup again?
Just Statty Seth is the guy. Statty Seth's doing the lineup at his computer. His mom brings him macaroni and cheese. Lonnie Wilkins says, at least the Rays went down with a fight, but that implosion was not good. Yeah, I mean, it came from the bullpen and a young pitcher, opening day, St. Louis. I'm not, we're not taking anything. I think this bullpen's going to be really good. But,
and you know what? Opening day jitters for young players, especially pitchers, is a thing.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't read too much into this at all for any team. Maybe except for the exception of O'Neal Cruz up in Pittsburgh. That was just horrific what he did.
That was a bad day.
He just should retire right now. He's never coming back from that. Paul Skeens may put a hit out on him.
He certainly won't be sending him a birthday card.
With his 67.5 ERA.
Take a picture of that right now.
Right, that's
first Cy Young Award winner to not get out of the first inning on his next start.
Lord.
Alejandro also says Junior and Carson both having good plate discipline and a couple of hits make more intrigue. Williamson had a bunch of hits, and honestly, he should be the everyday second baseman. And Drew on point. Yeah, all that was good, man. All that good. I like Williamson. And B-Lau had two bombs yesterday, including the first of the season in MLB. And
2 big ones.
I didn't mind trading Brandon Lau, but I think our Gavin Lux is not the answer. I just that to me was just uninspiring. He may change my mind.
Just think how Lau would have fit into this lineup though with some of these young guys.
Yeah, but you're just waiting for the back injury.
I know. I mean, I get it, but I like to put complete teams together, and I like to put guys in. Especially guys you got rid of.
You never want to get rid of 30 home runs at second base. I mean, my God, no. But if you do, you better get a lot in return. And I'm not sure we did. Not sure we did. Listen, I have ultimate faith in Eric Neander. But let's see if these things pan out. Because recently, not great. Not great. And you're going to miss. I mean, it's GMing in any league is by not a perfect science. And he certainly has a great track record in terms of putting a winner on the field. Not the last 2 years. And I don't expect miracles this year either. But I do want to see some players emerge that can be a part of the 29ers. Put it that way. Alex Nunn was not happy with the lineup either. Said, really hope Cash doesn't do the same shit. God awful. I don't like the lineup. And again, is it his or some statty Seth? I don't know. David Terry said, no telling how many more runs we could have had if we started Simpson. Yeah, people are like, well, he comes off the bench, man. That's why he doesn't start. I'm like, what? Yeah, we're saving our best leadoff hitter to pinch hit in the 6th inning. And he ignited him, right? Great at bat. Listen, he's not a platoon player. And I'll let Orestes opine on this when he comes in a little bit more. I've said enough. And I just don't get that lineup yesterday. No protection for Caminero and no Chandler Simpson in the game. It's just
so I know you weren't there, but did anybody ask him about the lineup in the post game? Have we seen anything?
I haven't. Usually not. Those questions are never asked. Mike Holcomb said, and it's not a bad thing to ask the question. You're not, saying you're wrong. You're just saying, I'd like to hear your reasons why. I mean, if we're going to make these analytic decisions and these analytic lineups, then tell me why. I'm sure there's tons that I'm missing. I'm not down in the analytics of this, but just tell me. I'd like to know. Why would you start Ryan Vlade instead of Chandler Simpson? I want to know. Not to say that Ryan played poorly. He had a home run stolen away from him. But every time Chandler Simpson comes up, he affects the game. Even when he makes an out. He puts pressure on the pitcher. It's a different feeling. This is what happens when things that you can't cook into analytics, in my opinion. Mike Holcomb says, what's up, Mike? 17 hits with 16 of them being singles and 16 left on base. Only the Rays could have those numbers. It is honestly, statistically bizarre. Like, that's really weird. But this construction of this team is kind of that way. This is interesting. From Alex, said Patrick Zalupski was on TV. I hope he sees the implosion of cash management. Look, I don't care if it's game one. It doesn't matter about all these bogus, et cetera. If you're not winning games, fans want winning baseball. No question about it. You know, Cash is a 2-time American League Manager of the Year. But he doesn't make every correct decision. It's part of managing. So when we think that he should be criticized, we will do so. Doesn't make us right or him wrong. It's just part of baseball. That's the fun of baseball, is second guessing the manager. I mean, that's the beauty of the game. So he knows that. But these lineups, I'm concerned. And I just wonder how much of it is driven.
It's just perplexing. Like, it's just perplexing is the word I'm thinking of, because there's no reason for it that we know of.
Yeah. Alex Elsler says Lupski seems to be a very nice, down-to-earth guy, though. Yeah, I think they all are, man. I really do. Every time Stu talked, you always felt there was a hidden agenda, and that's that smirky smile, just smirky smile. Just like, what's going on here? what's something's happening here. I just don't.
Something underhanded.
Right. It's just something weird about it. Anyway, I can't deal with that anymore. Nathan Stout says, by investing $1 billion into the stadium, it allows the Rays to leverage and invest more money into the big picture, which is the $10 billion taxable project. By investing $1 billion, it creates a larger tax return for us. Yes, thank you, Nathan Stout. And yet, here we go with another commentary from two people, and the headline in this one is, and it's you cannot make this shit up, folks. Oh God, it just disappeared. Hold on. Hillsborough County shouldn't trade fire trucks for foul balls. Yes, they should.
Yeah.
You're telling me that all these other communities that have baseball stadiums have figured out how to pay for fire trucks and baseball stadiums, and we can't do it? Has to be a choice, either or. Like, you sound like Ocala, bro. We shouldn't trade fire trucks for foul balls. By the way, why not say home runs? Foul balls.
Yeah, right.
That's
how they think.
The negativity never stops. How is it that other places in Pittsburgh, in Cincinnati, smaller markets have figured out how to pay for fire trucks and baseball stadiums? How is that? Is it that hard? You spend $10 billion, you get somebody to bring you a baseball team and an $8 to $10 billion investment in your city, and you're going to go, we need fire trucks, not foul balls. Yeah, because you live in the sticks, and you never come to the city probably, and you want a fire truck to be there if your house is burning down, which is a 1 in a million, by the way. But we need that. Of course we do. We need fire trucks. Let's figure out how to do both. I think we can do it. And here's a little thing for you. If you invest $1 billion and get $6 billion back in taxes over a 30-year period and a $55 billion economic impact, maybe we can buy more fire trucks. You ever think about it that way? No, you don't think about it that way, do you? It's a little beyond your pearl clutching capabilities. Thank you, Nathan Stout, for that little bit of visionary hopefulness. It's tough math for a lot of people. It's really tough. Let me say what else we got. Thomas said, the Times opinion, trading fire trucks for stadium, both authors live on the fringes of Hillsborough County. There you go. And let's go seek out these people. One day after we print the Will Weatherford tremendous column about all the great things that this project can bring, we go out and find two people that live in the sticks to say fire trucks are more important than baseball stadiums, and we print that. Good for you. It's so over this. It's just crazy.
Seems ridiculous.
It really does. Simon says Rays went from having a winning version of Culver House to a group that appears to be like Vinnick, and yet people are griping. We have dreamed of having this type of ownership. The stadium has got to get done. Thank you, Simon. Appreciate that. Sergio Biltres says it's going to be a long season for the Rays, and I'm not meaning the whole 162 that they have to play. It could be. I'm not as optimistic as most. I see a lot of holes in this team, but I want to see these young players develop. That's what this season is about for me. Watching young players develop, and hopefully they get in the fire and can get some experience being in the fire in September. That'll be good, but I don't expect much from this team. Baseball in general, I mean, come on, it's the haves and the have-nots. It's a class system now. The Dodgers are just kind of in a class by their own. It's kind of just silly now, to be honest with you. It's just kind of silly.
They're going to three-peat, JP.
Yeah, I think that's true. Lonnie Wilkins says Wrigley Field went from sunny and 75 to 38 and stiff wind blowing with rain within the first 2 innings. That was a brutal opening day. Going again tomorrow. Yeah, I know, right? That weather's coming into St. Louis today with the day off for the Rays, and then they'll get back at it tomorrow. Hopefully no rain tomorrow, but it's going to be chilly. It's going to be in the low 50s as the high.
How about that? You go from 91 degrees on the hottest opening day in St. Louis history to a normal St. Louis April day or March day. It's 51 degrees.
Crazy, right? Danny Boy says, good morning, gentlemen. Per TBBJ, while a stadium financing deal has yet to go public, the Tampa Bay Rays say their peers in pro football and hockey are among their supporters. They are.
Yep.
The Lightning and the Bucks are their partners. They have them on they have, in their presentation, their public presentation that they do. They have a list of their partners up there, and they're on there because, yes, they do support this in many ways. Doesn't mean there aren't conflicts of interest in certain things like parking. We'll figure it out. That's what this, again, we're making the sausage public. The making of the sausage is now on the front page of the TBT every day. And it looks bad. I get it. But this is how every stadium deal gets done. It's just, there's a lot of hard negotiating that has to go on. The politicians are trying to protect the taxpayers. The private enterprises are trying to, get the best that they can do. It's called a negotiation. But I've said this a million times. I'll say it again. This group is different, and they have Tampa Bay as, in their hearts, in the best interest. I really believe that, and they'll get something done. And if they have to give on some things, they'll do so. But it's part of a negotiation. Listen, when I say, when Amazon builds these huge fulfillment centers, right? They go around and they'll talk to communities and they'll say, hey, we like this tax break and this tax break and this tax break, and we're going to, build this, $75 million center here, and we're going to employ about 700 people. We're really good jobs. Can you give us some tax breaks? And they say, absolutely, we can, because if they don't do it, somebody else, another municipality will, and it's a good investment. It's a good investment for your constituencies. And the other part about this that I keep seeing, the biggest misinformation is like, oh, that land is worth $250 million. They should be paying for that. No, it's not. If it was worth that much money, how come nobody's built on it in 25 years? The only way you build on this is if you bring a baseball team. It's the only way this gets done. It's the but-for argument. So it's so lowbrow, and it appeals to a lot of people because it seems to make sense, because they don't understand what the situation is. It's a lot of open land in a key position that's taken up by a college that is dilapidated and needs to be redone and hasn't been able to find the funding to do so. And they get the funding because of this project that they're bringing, the investment that these guys are bringing. It's really simple, but again, this story is not being told enough in the right places. Unfortunately, we don't have as many subscribers because we're not a newspaper that's been in business for 100 years, backed by all that they have. And it's sad. I just wish they would do their journalistic duty and present both sides of the stories, which they are absolutely 100% not doing.
Well, the key point that you made is it's an easy argument for people to use because it sounds like it makes sense. So it sounds intelligent for the people who fail to go do their own research and due diligence and who don't really care about the matter. They just need something to argue for.
Right. Exactly. Well said. Well said. Per TBBJ, Babby met this morning at Cafe Con Leche with attendees there, but did not meet with reporters afterwards. Yeah, he understands. It doesn't matter what he says. The words are going to get twisted, and he's taking the message directly to the people because he knows that the media are not going to give him a fair shake.
Babby needs to pull a Trump and start banning people, banning the Tampa Bay Times from
start calling them fake news.
Yeah.
Not a bad idea. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll come back. We'll get to some more comments. Big O's going to join us to talk a little bit more baseball. Anything you guys want to bring to the table as well. It doesn't matter what the subject is. We'll hit it in the comments. Please bring so. You can do that on YouTube. You can do that on Twitter at JP Peterson Show. You can do that and Facebook as well at JP Peterson. So go do that. Back in 3. Stay with us. Well, the folks at Third Generation Plumbing and AC want to say thanks for making them so dadgum busy. Of course, advertising on your favorite Tampa Bay sports talk show helps, but it's their incredible customer service, honesty, and integrity that have earned them tons of 5-star reviews. And now you could be part of the team at Third Generation. Yes, they are so slammed, they need to hire more certified AC technicians and plumbers. It's a great family business to work for. My buddy John Rodriguez runs an old school family business since 1995. They pay well, give you all the holidays off, and they offer great benefits. No cold corporate atmosphere here. You're part of the family. If this sounds cool to you, call them and apply at 813-961-8024, or you can email your resume in at thirdgenerationplumbing.com. Just go to the website, you'll see the button, email them, or call them at 813-961-8024. And don't forget about the $169 yearly maintenance special. It's a no-brainer, guys. thirdgenerationplumbing.com, and they also do AC.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Cafe Paradiso, voted number 3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Cafe Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite.
I love it.
So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
Welcome to Kingmakers, home of the JP Peterson Show studio and Tampa's premier business networking and social club for members only. By day, it's an exclusive, vibrant co-working space with a stylish conference room, focus rooms, a full production studio, and an in-house marketing team. And by night, Kingmakers transforms into a sports-centric social hub with a full sports bar, golf simulator, and exclusive events. For young entrepreneurs and seasoned professionals, it's the perfect place to work hard, play hard, and make big moves in Midtown Tampa. Close the deal, celebrate the win. Only at Kingmakers. Become a member today at kingmakerstampa.com. Your business, your club.
Sports fans, it's time to gear up. Head to fanstreamsports.com and check out our brand new merchandise store. We're talking bold t-shirts, 3/4 zips, hoodies, hats, mugs, and more. Everything you need to rep your favorite shows and your favorite crew. Whether you're rolling with the JP Peterson Show in Tampa Bay, From the Rough in Dallas, the Tim May Show featuring Clay Hall, or the Jeff Thidoff Show in Ohio, or any of our FanStream Sports original programming, we've got the perfect look for game day and every day. So don't wait. fanstreamsports.com. Click merch and grab your gear now. Wear the stream, live the stream, fanstreamsports.com.
Hey, JP here for my concierge medical professional, Chris Lugo, PA. You've heard him on the show for a couple of years where he shares invaluable medical, nutritional, and supplement advice. With Chris, it's like having a medical provider as your best friend. What I love about this concierge service is the convenience and support he offers. I can text or call him 24/7 with any questions or concerns, and he'll promptly call in a prescription if needed. No office visits or copays required. It gives me peace of mind knowing I have someone genuinely invested in my health, not just focused on insurance profits. And the best part, the Bay Area Modern Medical Center's personal concierge service is more affordable than you might think. Don't let insurance companies dictate your health care. Take control of your health and wellness today. Visit BAMMC.com for more information and to schedule your initial free consultation. Empower yourself and take charge of your personal health with BAMMC.com.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, well, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here as we roll on this Friday. It's Friday already. Fantastic. Oh, I forgot to do my camera thing again there, Timmy.
Yeah, I noticed.
Well, what do I got to do here?
Nobody
Let's
needs
produce
to
on the air, shall we? Go ahead.
Wasn't Orestes coming in?
Yes, he is.
Well, we'll just leave the wide shot then. There's no big
Okay, well, we can't see you. I can't
Trust me. It's a win for everybody.
That's you're not lying. Welcome back, our great friends at Third Generation Plumbing. I want to remind you that the dog days of summer are coming, folks, even though the weather has been so beautiful, especially in the mornings, but it's coming. That heat is coming, and you want to make sure your unit is in tip-top shape. That's why you got to do the maintenance special, kids. They will come out twice a year and make sure your drain is clear. You know, that's the one that gets stopped up, and then your unit shuts down, and your wife calls you and says, the air conditioning is out, or your dog is barking near death. Don't let that happen. Get the maintenance special. They'll make sure your unit is working in tip-top condition. And if you need a new one, they'll get American Standard Heating and Cooling involved, and they have the best units, the most efficient units in this heat that we live in. You got to have the best, the most durable. American Standard is that. They are the American Standard Heating and Cooling. So make sure that you have this dynamic duo working for you in your HVAC locations. It is Third Generation Plumbing. They also do AC. If you have plumbing issues, anything mechanical around the house, they will do it. If you're looking for a job in the industry, get your resume in. They are hiring because, of course, when you advertise on the JP Show, you get slammed, and they've been slammed. So thirdgenerationplumbing.com. Great folks over there. Hello to PJ and Johnny, the owners over there. I came across this tweet. I had to retweet it. It's this shot of the Panthers game last night and all the empty seats. You can't see it. I'm on the wide shot. It says, good to see all those diehard, lifelong Panther fans that were seen in public for the first time ever during the Stanley Cup Finals have gone back into hiding.
Yeah, because they suck.
Yeah, but they're fair weather fans is what they are. And they pack the arena when they're good, and when they suck, they abandon their team. That doesn't happen in Tampa because we never suck. And it wouldn't happen anyway. We did at one point, but we changed that. We got the best fan base in the world now. So what do you think about that? All right.
Here is your shot, by the way.
There it is. Yeah.
A lot of empty seats.
They were outshot last night by the Wild 19-6 in the first period.
Now that the Panthers aren't going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I could be happier for Paul Maurice.
Yeah. Bunch of tough guys now, aren't you?
Weirdos.
Joel Forsland has a great comment today. Cobb County has lots of new fire stations and fire equipment and the Brave Stadium. Yes, Hillsboro. We're good enough to be able to do both.
Do both.
This is
the dumbest argument.
I have a hard time. Is it the tennis one or this one? That's
the fire truck one.
It's the fire truck one. Yeah.
As if pumpkins. As if that money comes from as if that money comes from the same place anyway.
Well, I guess there's a part of the SITS tax that pays for some of that stuff. Yeah. But again, if we do this the right way, which I'm absolutely confident we can do, we won't even use all that SITS money. In fact, we'll create more SITS money with the 8 million square feet that we're going to build. And so you would as Chris Palermo told us yesterday and showed us in these bonds, if you collect more money, which they're doing in Cobb County to double, triple some of their projections, then you pay off the bonds earlier, and then that money keeps flowing in, and then it goes into the general fund to pay for what? Fire trucks, more fire trucks.
So weird.
I know. Alex Nunn says, Cash just handles pitching so bad. That's my issue. I wasn't against the lineup. 17 hits don't lie. Well, Alex, going to Seymour in that situation, that's not a bad call. You're up 6 runs. You should be able to, the bullpen should be able to get, what do we have, 12 outs at that point? Get 12 outs and protect a 6-run lead with everybody fresh in opening day. And that St. Louis lineup, I would not call it the 27 Yankees. That was a shit show, by your bullpen. And it happens, but it just stands out more in opening day, certainly. Rick says, Belows probably had back spasms after all those high fives yesterday. Shut up. Aviation says Texas Live was one of the best things built in DFW. 500,000 people are expected to visit during the World Cup. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons you got the World Cup, because you have all that stuff around it. And the places that don't will not get these events. Thomas says they were complaining about Hillsborough College student housing. Hillsborough College campus has never, ever had student housing, and the apartments off campus is not getting demolished or replaced. I know so much of this is misinformation everywhere. Oh, they're tearing down the college for the Rays and building a new one that wouldn't be built. They got elevators that don't work. They can't even get money to pay for working elevators. And the only reason they're going to get a new campus is because of this building that's going to happen. The state wasn't going to do that. They were going to keep putting Band-Aids on it. Man. JLR says, of all the sports deals we have had since RJS, this one is the best one, 100%. And remember, all these pro clutchers were saying the same things about Raymond James Stadium. And we built it for $190 million. One of the greatest investments we've ever made. Water Street, we put in $100 million. We gave to a billionaire. Can you believe we did that? And we've gotten $1.2 billion back. That's how it works. Joel Forsland says the property values in the Battery Atlanta property have increased from $5 million in 2014 to $736 million in 2022. Figuring out the tax revenue increase on that is a no-brainer. Yes, they took a property that was a grove of trees across from my old station that was making no money, that was a maintenance drain on Cobb County, and turned it into a humongous moneymaker. That's called progress. And now you can have more money for the general fund in Cobb County. That's how that works. Alejandro says the Dodgers are the modern day Yankees because everything they're doing now, that everyone wants to change the rules and add salary cap because of them, but the Yankees have done it for years, ironically. Yeah. Joel also says some of the tax revenue was going to Cobb County schools as well, which is one of the best school districts in the state of Georgia. That's right. And they were having a hard time getting funding because Cobb County had kind of outgrown it. And this was a way. And I remember I told you we broke that story in Atlanta when I was on the air there. And the Atlanta Journal in Constipation, the Urinal in Constipation went bananas about what a horrible deal it was for Cobb County. The horrible deal. And now look at it. And they're still writing negative stories based on ridiculously cooked up numbers. Go ask any of the business people. It's one of my favorite stories. Talking to Guy Revel, who owns Splitsville here and many other Splitsvilles, and has been another incredibly successful businessman that builds things. And I asked him, I said, but what about all these, when you hear about these academics saying that it's not good for business? He just laughed. He's like, man, he goes, are you kidding me? He goes, when the NCAA tournament is here, you know how much money we make? You know how much money my employees make and tips and everything? He goes, we wait months, years for things like this because of what it means for our business. He goes, this is our lifeblood. It's what makes our business is bringing in these events and sports. He goes, it's just silly. And of course, these people that write these things, these academics, they've never signed a paycheck in their life. They've never run a business, never done any of that stuff. They just go and grab some numbers, cook it up in their computer, and write a book and try to stay relevant. I'm not saying that all stadium deals are good. They're not. There have been some bad ones, no question. But the municipalities have learned from that. the private industry has learned from that, and they've figured out a better model, and it's working in a tremendous way. I think the cans are over here. The other ones are on the ground. Or are those the good ones? I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, Lord. Sounds like I need to make a trip to Tampa.
Orestes Destrade. What do you want me to do, Timmy? I'm not a producer.
How about a little housekeeping?
I'm just
Housekeeping, man. That's all.
Headphones on the floor. You can't turn up microphones.
He's not very organized when it comes to that type of stuff.
Good God, what are we
He
doing?
just came off a very tough overtime loss by the Bolts, man. He's still kind of.
Am I not doing enough?
You are.
Am I not doing enough?
Yeah.
Breaking
Yeah.
cameras.
You are doing-
Sales guy, promotion guy.
Actually, he is doing
17 different jobs. And I haven't fixed the headphones.
And
when you get to
wonderful
18, let me know.
I just suck. I need to be doing more. You're right. My
That
bad.
does sound like a marriage, though, doesn't it? Does it sound
Me and
exactly?
Timmy?
Yeah, a marriage. You need to
Promo guy, sales guy.
You need to do more.
Engineer.
You're just not doing
host.
enough.
By the way, I have to host these shows, you know.
I love you, honey, but you're just not doing enough. You know,
Screw you, Timmy.
I'm going out by myself tonight.
My jamon needs some cheese. My jamon always needs some cheese.
Some queso.
Needs some queso. Jamon con queso. Oh my God, cheese! Talk about cheese.
Yeah.
It was the
He and
couple of
Seymour been
cheese.
throwing some. No, he wasn't throwing any cheese.
He wasn't throwing any cheese.
He was throwing meat.
He
was throwing
I have
meat.
So much about that game yesterday. It's like not even.
The floor is
funny.
yours. I've already bitched enough. I told him it started on our pregame show when we got the
All right, so
lineup
give me-
without
give me-
Chandler
give
Simpson.
me-
Orestes, let me
general-
open the discussion with a question.
Please.
Is Chandler Simpson going to play for the Rays this year?
Oh wow, wow. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah.
Send it down.
He did play yesterday, and he had a big knock.
He did.
That's in my list of I title it "So Many Keys" to the game yesterday. Let's work backwards. Number one, the bullpen collapse. Not expected. They did have some of those collapses last year. Dare I say? They had some collapses where they were ahead by 3 or 4 runs. Nothing like this. This was such an enigma, such an anomaly, you know, especially on opening day. They have to go back to 1912 for two teams to score, 6 runs in 1 inning or more, which the other team obviously scored more. They scored 8. But nevertheless, the bullpen collapse. One of the big issues with that was 2-strike approaches, and they just couldn't put people away. And there were so many hits that the Cardinals had with 2 strikes that they were able to foul off. Boom, here's another hit. Especially 2 glaring 2-strike pitches. One was Drew Rasmussen earlier before you got to the 6th, which he gave the kid JJ Weatherholt a meat 0-2 fastball out over the plate.
Yeah.
He wanted that to be 2 or 3 balls higher, right? So if you get a fastball right here, you want it to be here. Missed location, the kid hammers it to center. By the way, just sliding in that 90 degrees, which you mentioned it at 91 degrees, historic for St. Louis for an opening day. And they've had so many opening days. What does that mean, everybody? That means that
Ball be
there's
flying.
Exactly humidity. Everybody thinks that the ball flies better in cold weather. It actually doesn't. It flies better in humid weather. So the humidity, the balls were flying. Unfortunately, the Rays did get it up in the air 3 times, right? One ended up being a home run, Jonathan Aranda. 2 incredible plays defensively by the youngsters of the St. Louis Cardinals. Nathan Church made the play of the day.
Yeah.
No doubt. In fact, it's probably going to be possibly top 10 in the whole season, that play. But definitely the play of the day on the Ryan Vilade. By the way, I heard that
Vilade.
Vilade, is it?
It's Vilade.
Yeah. Which is weird because again, I'm in the ADE at the end of my name.
Yeah.
And I'm not this Destrade. I am.
Is he? Is that Latino?
I think he's Italian or something. I don't believe
Maybe
he's
Eastern Bloc. That name.
Yeah, it could be. But so I've always
Weird.
said Vilade because it's Destrade, but we'll go with Vilade because their St. Louis announcers were pronouncing it, and they knew him personally. So Ryan hit that crush. Nathan Church, incredible play. The 6'6" youngster in right field, Jordan. What is it? Walker? No, I think it is. Is it Jordan Walker? What a great play he made on Carson's ball.
Yeah. That was going to be a RBI situation.
Yeah. Carson also misses a home run by just, probably
Inches.
at least, at most a foot.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of bombs. Other than that, 16 singles out of 17 hits. Still I'll take it. But 16 men on base, left on base. I'll take the 5 for 17 risk. Getting back to Chandler Simpson. Yeah, you'd like to have it. I'm not that upset about, well, let me stay with the bullpen. The one question that I would have is, you want to use your high leverage bullpen guys in the high leverage situations where really kind of constitutes the 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Mm-hmm.
They saw a problem in the 6th. Well, they didn't see a problem in the 6th. Clevenger just came out to open the 6th. Because of the right move, you had 45-minute inning.
Seymour started. It was Seymour that started
Clevenger. So Seymour, excuse me. Ian Seymour came in, and he just couldn't. He unlucky and not making right pitches because there was a few CNI hits by the Cardinals.
Yep.
Obviously the sun ball, stuff like that. But do you go to Jax, in the 6th there, or do you kind of hold him back?
I don't know. That was a high leverage situation.
It was a high leverage situation.
I think it was the right call.
I understand. I mean, I start thinking about
the game's on the line right there.
Game
Burleson's
on the line, but I mean, I'm just, the only reason I say that is because you got to understand the mentality of like a power hitter, a singles hitter, a starter, and a closer mentality. If you take him out of a certain situation because he's not closing the game there, it's still in the 6th. You still have a third of the game left.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I'm saying I
kind of liked it because I thought
you're not going to bring Mo Rivera in on the 6th in a Yankee game.
Well, I mean,
no, you don't. I don't. Again, maybe I'm talking old school here.
Yeah, that's old school.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just
I'm not saying it's right or wrong.
First and foremost,
it's
just
a question mark. It's just
get the job done.
And again, if there was 2 fastballs that were mistaken, there were obviously the one to the kid, JJ Weatherholt, and on an 0-2 pitch, and then on a 1-2 pitch by Jax. He'd love to have that back. Again, missed.
Down and in.
It
99.
It wasn't down. It was middle cut as far as waist high. It was a 1-2 pitch. He wanted to be here, and he threw it here. 2, misplaced fastballs.
Yeah.
Huge, right? So that's huge.
You got to execute.
You got to execute. It's early in the season, and maybe they're just not all there and lined up. So I'm not worried about the bullpen. Drew had to come out. There was no doubt about it. Yeah. I mean, 45 minutes, it's just too long when
the bullpen's got to hold that.
And when you have a controlled game at 7-1.
Yeah.
I would also say that,
talk about Caminero in the lineup.
Well, that was what I was going next.
Protection with 4, 4 walks. That was great. But
there's 2 ways to look at that. In one way you look at it, great job by Junior to show, patience, to show plate discipline.
Big time.
That's going to make him, if he keeps that throughout the season, it's going to make him a 280, possible 300 hitter because he's going to, just take his walks. So they're going to pitch around him. So what's going to happen with left-handed starters is that you're probably going to have a Ben Williamson, or a Ronald Vilade, hitting behind him. So that's just the reality. It's not going to be enough. Any manager, any pitching coach, any pitcher, any catcher in that battery, they're gonna take their chances, with the next guy if it's not somebody of the ilk of
Aranda,
or a Fraley, a powerful guy that when you look over, literally you're on the mound and here's your big boy, and then you kind of peek over and you look and you see Stanton, you see some big boy there, Ben Rice, now all of a sudden Judge maybe this time gets a better pitch. You know what I mean? Because you got to have that protection. We're going to see how that develops throughout the year because that's going to be a key thing.
Yeah, I mean, as patient as he was,
especially against lefties, it's not going to be a problem against righties because then you throw in the matchup of like Mullins, Fraley, come in there. The other thing that oh, by the way, back to the bullpen. Interesting that ironically, Ryan Stanek of all people, our former guy, great human being. By the way, I got to spend a lot of time with him when he was here, and I really am a big Ryan Stanek fan. And he's jumped around all over the place. He's been a have ball will throw type of guy. But he came in and he made the quality pitches. He got himself into a jam.
Yeah, he did.
But he made some nasty sliders, and the fastball was clocking at 99. And but where does that also leave us? The platoon situation, I think, could be a problem. Okay, because how I am about not trying to talk bad about certain, a hitter and stuff. but usually what I try to do, JP, we've talked about this. I'll try to lift a guy up and then say, okay, but now he's struggling. But he used to, do this right. Now he's not doing. There is nothing about Fiducia that he's done right.
we can't pick it up.
I can't, and I really I'm struggling with this, but I do not believe that Fiducia is a major league hitting player. So if that's the case, 60 to 70% of the time it's going to be right-handed pitchers. Your better hitting catcher is Nick Fortes by a ton.
Did you see what he did yesterday?
He got 3 hits.
Not only that, did you see what the other hit he got? Timmy, you got that?
Oh, when he got hit in the
yeah, we show those to the folks.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Now I can put it on the screen.
Avert your eyes if you're a little squeamish.
Dude, I've been there, not as a catcher, but as a first baseman with a ball that kicked up. And the problem with that is that if it goes,
all right, play it again. We missed it.
Yeah,
there we go.
Painful when it goes underneath the protector.
Oh,
yeah.
Hello, boys.
Yeah, hello.
Oh,
so good job.
He blocked three with runners on third.
Yeah. No,
3 runs. They're both
blocks. Great defensive catchers. Yeah. That's not the problem. They're both solid. In fact, they're known to be defensive catchers.
That's enough, Timmy.
Yeah, no, it's so bad. The guy's like he's on all four, and he's like just crawling. They're both great defensive catchers, but you got to create some offense. And if you're going to be mostly right-handed pitchers on that mound, that means that this guy's going to get most of your at bats. I'm a little concerned about that.
That would be.
And and then continuing on the platoon, not a super big fan of Richie Palacios overall, and Ben Williamson's come out of the gate. So when Gavin Lux comes back, no problem, right? Gavin Lux hits the righties well, has his whole major league career. He's a true bona fide major league hitter. No problem of him getting 70% of the at-bats against righties, and you mix in, the sparky Ben Williamson. I'm not real crazy about the Palacio platoon there. So there's there's 2 platoons that I'm really concerned about.
Blade.
Yeah.
And
that one's I'm not as concerned about. We already know, we've said how we feel about Chandler Simpson, but if they're going to go with that, with the books and the numbers, okay, that's the way it is. And then, still Chandler Simpson's going to get the majority of the at-bats because it's mostly righties. But we would love to just unleash the kid.
Yeah.
And maybe it might happen. Remember, this is mile 1 of a 162-mile marathon.
But with the first mile, you start you're supposed to be putting your best foot forward in the opening game. Like, this is what we love. This is our game. This is what we do. And it's like, oh yeah, but we're going to sit this electric guy on the bench.
Right.
I don't get it.
I don't get that one either, but I'm more okay with that because Ryan is capable, and I've liked what I've seen from him in the past of his career in the minor leagues and in spring training. So I'm okay with that. I'm not okay with the Richie Palacios, light hitting Richie Palacios, speedster Richie Palacios, but I'm not super okay with that. I'm definitely not okay with Fiducia. I'm okay with Johnny DeLuca, sensational outfield that can swing the bat. Again, only going to hit 40% of the times compared to Fraley, who's going to hit against righties. I'm okay with that. And if you want to do the Chandler Simpson, that's, it is what it is for right now. We'll see if Simpson starts out so hot that you say, I got to start putting this guy in every day.
Well, the bottom line is, if Ryan Vilade can hit 295, against lefties
and pop some balls like he almost popped a home run yesterday.
That matters.
That matters.
Matters.
There's some pop there.
Yeah. Then fine, but chances are he won't be.
Right.
This guy hits lefties at a 295 clip. He needs to be in the line.
Does so much, I mean, bro, did you see him take first to third on that one?
Yes.
He's a fire rocket.
Yes. The guy's got to be on the field every moment you can get him.
So exciting. Right there, that could have created an error right there. That could have created, so much craziness.
We'll go into this a little bit more in the Big O show, because it's just, we did this on the pregame show yesterday, and you talked about it. The stuff that analytics doesn't see or can't measure is guys like you on the ground, on the field, and when there's speed guys, they just change the game. Like I said
before, it's power.
They change the game.
And power is power pitching, power hitting, power running, and they do change the game. It matters. I mean, for example, the St. Louis Cardinals, who, by the way, had a pretty darn good little spring training for themselves at 17-9 in our little scrappy team. they got a bunch of speedster. You know, the one guy thought, you know, laid down that bunt perfectly. You know,
they play good baseball.
They
really
play,
do.
and that's the way they're going to have to play. They're going to have to play that Milwaukee Brewers baseball, even less than the Brewers, because they don't have super pop, you know. But you know, you can't make those mistakes. But it is, you know, 1 of 162. Now I will say, I think it's going to be a very close race to the wild card. So let's just hope that it doesn't come down to 1 or 2 games to making the playoffs, and you look back all the way back to March 26th.
You blow a 6-run lead.
And you blew a 6-run
to the Cardinals.
Yeah.
All right, much more coming up on the Big O Show around 12:30. So join us for that. We'll enjoy your comments on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, because we like to interact with you guys, talk a little baseball. It's fun stuff. All right, Timmy, thank you very much. Great week. Another great week for the show. Really appreciate it. We will be back.
You're the best, bro.
I try, man. I try.
We love you, man.
God bless you all. Enjoy your baseball.
Is he the wife?
Hockey.
So you being the husband?
Yeah, he's a bitch.
I'm the big burly man wife, is what I am.
Yes. Bitch, you can't put your headphones on the ground. Your housekeeping.
Organize your
Go
stuff.
vacuum the floor.
JP's wife has more facial hair than him. Not you, Ashley. I mean me, not you, Ashley. Sorry.
My work wife.
Your work wife.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Take the trash out.
Oh.